What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bantering about the state of the Boston Red Sox. Now, before I get into the breakdown of this franchise for the 2023 season, there is a corresponding article up on laracuenteledger.com, and I will leave links to that article in the show notes, the description below. So make sure you check it out for a full breakdown of the Boston Red Sox. Now, we're going to go over the 9 different major aspects of the franchise, beginning with their major acquisition. And when it comes to the major acquisition for the Boston Red Sox, Masataka Yoshida is going to be the biggest name that they brought in. There was a lot of questions as far as how this offseason was going to play out, and not much that went well for Boston. There is a lot of expectations that this is going to be a very solid major league player, but also a lot of evaluators saying that the Red Sox overpaid for Yoshida. But we're going to have to wait and see how it kind of plays out for them. This is going to be a solid major league player based on most of the evaluators' estimations on how this player's skills will translate from Japan to Major League Baseball. But a positive acquisition for Boston is something that was very much needed. When it comes to the significant injuries for the Red Sox, Trevor Story is going to be the most significant piece. This was going to be the guy that was being the security blanket, the insurance for Xander Bogaerts departing from the Boston Red Sox this offseason. Trevor Story was supposed to come in, play shortstop for the Red Sox in 2023, but he is now out with an elbow issue that is going to keep him out for most of the 2023 season. This is a big loss for Boston because they were already in a very precarious position in this division. I think that this really sets them back in a big way. And I think that for the Red Sox, there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching that happens in this upcoming season, which to me is going to be a benefit to them. I think that Alex Cora has a very strong feel for his ball club, and he usually pushes the right buttons. But this is a very big loss for Boston in losing out on the guy who was supposed to be your insurance blanket, your security, your insurance for Xander Bogaerts walking away. Trevor Story is a big loss for the Boston Red Sox. When it comes to the top prospect in the Red Sox system, Marcelo Mayer is that guy. This is a shortstop prospect who, in my opinion, is going to be a very solid player for Major League Baseball. To me, there's a lot of questions as to the stability of shortstop now that Xander Bogaerts has departed. Boston doesn't have anything in this 2023 season that is an heir apparent. Trevor Story was supposed to be a stopgap, in my opinion, at that position, waiting for this player. I think that Marcelo is going to be a very solid Major League player. He has a very high hit tool grading in the 20 to 80 scouting scale. This is also going to be a guy who should hit for some decent level of power. I also think that with the way that the Fenway Park is laid out, this is going to be a guy who's really going to be able to maximize the triangle in center field as well as the green monster. To me, this is a very high level hit prospect, and there's going to be a ton to look at when this player does make his debut. It is believed that he could see time in the major leagues as early as this 2023 season. So it'll be interesting to see, with the injury to Trevor Story, how quickly the Red Sox move Mayer up. Now, when it comes to a bold prediction for the Boston Red Sox, I believe that Chris Sale will pitch 162 innings for the Red Sox this year. Now, why is that a bold prediction to say that a starting pitcher is going to pitch at least 1 inning per team game? This is a player that has been predominantly an injury-prone player. So for Boston, this is the ace. This is the guy that you brought in. You made those trades to acquire his services all those years ago to be your foundational piece in your rotation. That has not been the case because of injury. I think that Chris Sale is going to go into this season healthy. I think that the Red Sox are going to manage his workload very well and allow him to be able to pitch in 162 innings plus. in this 2023 season. I think that Sale is staying that he's healthy. I think that he has finally gotten himself into a position with the time off because of all these injuries where he can be healthy. And I think that a better workload management for the Red Sox coaching staff for Chris Sale is going to help them and help him succeed. So while it may seem bold because this is a player who has been predominantly injury prone, I think that for Boston, Chris Sale is going to have a solid year and pitch at least 162 innings. Now, when it comes to predicting the divisional rankings, we have a video up and an article up on laracuenteledger.com and here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast that we predicted the Red Sox coming in 5th place in the division. I think that the AL East is one of the most difficult divisions to win, period. That being said, I think that for Boston, there's just been a lot of setbacks, not enough that was done this offseason to really surpass them out of the basement of the American League East. I think that the groundwork is being laid by the Red Sox to start building towards competing again, but I don't think 2023 is that season. Now, when it comes to grading the pitching staff for the Boston Red Sox, it is a D. Now, the reason why they get a D grading is because they have some talent in that rotation, they have some talent in that bullpen, but there's a very, very big question of health and what they're going to be able to do, how many innings they're going to be able to really rely on the entirety of this pitching staff for. I think that there isn't necessarily that true ace by the way that things have played out. They lost Nathan Eovaldi. Chris Sale, again, is always an injury concern. So even though I think that he can have a better season, I think that he will stay relatively healthy for the entire year for Boston. There's still a lot of questions as to what the staff is going to be able to do from a health perspective, first and foremost, but from there at a production level. I think that there are some things and some players in this pitching staff that could have very solid seasons. But overall, I think that there's just going to be a lack of depth and a lack of strength coming out of this pitching staff. Now, when it comes to grading out the offense for the Boston Red Sox, it's a C overall. I think that there are some pieces to really get excited about. Obviously, Rafael Devers is one of the best players in Major League Baseball. To me, Justin Turner is a very underrated signing. Likewise, Adam Duvall, to me, is one of the more underrated players in Major League Baseball. I also think that there's going to be a little bit of a transition period for Masataka Yoshida, but I think that overall it will be a very good year and a very good contract for the Boston Red Sox for this player. The one thing is going to be is the level of depth that Boston has. It's going to be tested right out of the gate. Losing Trevor Story is a big blow. You also traded for Adalberto Mondesi, who's going to kind of be slowing his recovery process. This is going to be an opportunity for a lot of young players to come up in Boston's offense, to be able to come and get an opportunity. I also think that for Boston, there's going to be a lot of learning and growing that happens for some of their minor leaguers. Again, their top prospect is a shortstop, and it's a position of need for them in 2023, in my opinion. So yes, they have Kike Hernandez, but to me, Kike is a guy who is best used in a variety of ways, not just necessarily being the everyday shortstop, although I do believe he can handle that position and will have a very good season. This is going to be an opportunity for Boston to really see what they have. So it's an average overall grade for them, but I think that there is things to like about the Boston Red Sox offense. Now, when it comes to grading the offseason, it is a D- grade. I think that there's a lot to be desired with what Boston did this offseason. Losing Xander Bogaerts is such a monumental franchise-altering loss. And the reason I say that is beyond just the fact that he was a shortstop, which is now a position of need, beyond the fact that you could have left then Trevor Story at second base, which strengthens your overall core. Look past the fact that they actually finally got one of their homegrown stars signed to a long-term extension in Rafael Devers. There's just a lot that needed to be done for the Boston Red Sox. They needed to shore up their starting pitching. They needed to shore up the bullpen. They needed to shore up the offense. They needed to replace Xander at shortstop, none of which got done. To me, this is going to be a very long season for Boston. It's going to be a season of transition, in my opinion. But I think that when you look at just the way that the offseason played out, it is definitely a borderline failing grade. Now, when we look at the overall grading of the franchise, it is a C-. It is just below average, in my opinion, when it comes to how the Boston Red Sox have begun this 2023 campaign. I think that there's a lot to be desired, as I just said, when it came to their offseason. There was a lot of holes that needed to be filled that they did not do anything to fill. I also think that there's questions about the ownership and how consecrated they are on actually producing a winning product. I think that the front office is truly a question mark. There's no doubt about it that since Chaim Bloom has taken over the Boston Red Sox, he has surgically dismantled this roster. And I think that whether or not it's something that was maliciously intended, I don't think so, because obviously you're not going to try to burn your own squad to spite your face. I think that for Chaim Bloom and his staff, I think that they were trying to get too cute, too analytically driven, trying to turn the Boston Red Sox into the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa has to get creative because they don't have the financial means to be able to sustain any type of extended push in that regard. Boston has the financial means, and yet they have not exercised that muscle. Now, whether that's coming because of the ownership group and whether or not they're actually giving them the resources, but it seems, based on the extension that Rafael Devers received, that there is some wiggle room there, that ownership is giving them the opportunity, and the front office under Chaim Bloom has not done the job correctly. So when it comes to this organization, there are pieces and things to be excited about if you're a fan of the Boston Red Sox. Again, there are some pieces that are on the way up that can help Boston in 2023. There are some things that were done, like the extension to Rafael Devers, like the signing of Masataka Yoshida. This is going to be an organization that has the makings and the beginnings of a team that can compete. But I think that for Boston, as long as Chaim Bloom is in control, this is always going to be a less than stellar ball club. Now, I know that's a bold claim to make, but I want to hear from you. Red Sox fans, let me know how you're feeling about your club in 2023, how you're feeling about the front office, the ownership group. Let me know all of these things down in the comment section below, or you can find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball. And we can keep the conversation rolling about the state of the Boston Red Sox franchise. Now, make sure if you haven't, follow us on all our social media outlets. Again, on Twitter, banter_baseball, on Instagram and TikTok at Baseball Banter Broadcast. You can also show us some more support by heading over to laracuenteledger.com. It is our website where we cover the world of Major League Baseball, as well as many other topics in daily articles. And if you want to show more support beyond that, head over to our merchandise shop, Baseball Banter Broadcast. It is the website that houses all of our top gear. So if you ever want to show support and show off the Baseball Banter Broadcast merchandise, head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com. You can use the number of promo codes that we have running on the banner of the site to save on some banter merch. So if you guys haven't already done so, you know the spiel. This is YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, as it does a huge service as we try to grow this community. Most of our audience here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast is not actually subscribed. So if you haven't hit that subscribe and the bell for post notifications, do so right now, because it does help us out tremendously. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked in as we continue to cover the state of each and every franchise in Major League Baseball leading to opening day 2023. So I want to thank you guys, and I will catch you guys on the next broadcast when we banter about baseball. Peace.